Good morning. We are live. Let's just make sure that we have sound, and I will play the intro and we will get started. Just checking a couple of settings, guys. Okay. Hopefully we have sound. I will go ahead and play the intro and we're going to get started. Yay! Hi, Marcus. Thank you for that sound check, Jamie. I appreciate it. I hate to ask every time, but you never know with OBS or YouTube if everything's gonna be cohesive and work. Good morning, Patty. Guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, give a thumbs up. Make sure that you're leaving your comments on the videos, asking your questions in the Facebook group. Also, I want to thank all of my moderators. Thank you so very, very much. Thank you to my Patreon and my Ko-fi supporters. You guys are 100% the best of the best. I appreciate you. Today's file is a supporter only file. If you are not currently a Ko-fi or a Patreon supporter, you will need to be a monthly supporter to get this file. Now, I do release some files that are for one-time supporters on Ko-fi as well. This is not one of those files. So if you want to do one-time support, I will make an exception and send you this file. You will just have to send me your confirmation after you did the one-time support, and I will forward this file to you via email. And you can find that email address on the contact page on the site, craftingwithapril.co. What else? January schedule. This is our January schedule. I put it up last week so you guys can see. These are tentative. The times or day are subject to change if life happens and I have to move one. I will try to schedule it within a day or two of its original date and time. For any of you that are new, so that you know that everything is also in Eastern time. So it is noon lunchtime here for me, but for our lovely moderator Sue, it is 9 a.m. and for Jamie it's 10. So they work hard for us. I appreciate you guys getting up on Saturday morning and doing this for us. What else? What other news do we have? I think that's it. If I'm forgetting something, hopefully it'll come to me before the live is over. So, that was it. Your design space, guys. Some of the uploads are coming out, so it's coming out of beta. I know I got it on my Windows computer and now it's on my Mac, so it is rolling out. If you're prompted to download it, go ahead and download it and get that. Let me see if I can get back to... it's not what I want. Home. There we go. I don't know if it's going to show up. It showed up when I first came in. Maybe if I close out and come back. You'll see an offline button so that you have the ability to work offline. Let's see if I can get it to pull back up. But it's an orange button I'm looking for it. Let's see. I don't know. It was there, and now I don't see it. Oh, I know why. Because my internet went off right before the live. And when my internet went off, my modem needed to be reset. I had the orange offline button. So you will only see that when you're offline. Is that right, Jamie? Make sure I'm correct. You'll only see that orange offline button up here when you are actually offline. That's the only time you're going to see it. What projects are going to be available? The projects that are going to be available have this little indicator right here. And if you don't want it to be available offline, you can remove it. It is best probably to go into your settings and go to the menu and go to settings. It's early. And right here, cloud and computer, you want to set it there, and that way it's going to save to the cloud, save to your computer. If it's not saved to computer, it's not going to be available offline for you. As you can see, all my projects are here when I go to my projects because I'm online. Now when I'm offline, I only have these few that are popping up. If you want to go in and save yours, you have to open them up and do a save. You have to move something in it and save it for it to actually save it for offline. Like this peekaboo card, I'm just going to go in and customize it. If I'm doing this right and it's supposed to, I'm just going to move something and move it back. And then I'm going to save it. And now it should save that for offline as well, where it was not before. So let's go back to my projects. And now I have that offline indicator. So if you go in and open up a project, that's the only way that you can get your older projects, I believe, to do it. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jamie. And then just save it. So if you don't have many, go ahead and do it now and they'll be available. For me, it would take hours because I have a ton of files. But that's how you're going to get everything that's already on there available for offline. And you can see that now I have the offline indicator for those. Does everybody understand that? Yeah. Thank you, Jamie, for confirming that. The orange offline button is only there if you are offline. So if your internet drops out or quits, you're going to see it. So, everybody understand? Any questions about the download? Anything that anybody needs to know? Put your questions in caps. Jamie, Marianne, one of us will answer those questions and try to get you an answer as quick as possible on that. So, let's go make our Valentine's pop-up card. Ta-da! Here we are. Oh, you can click the three dots? Let me just show them that, Jamie. Thank you. I didn't know. I haven't played with it much. Because I usually need my links, and I've been working on the web version. You don't have to open them. So if I click right here, this one doesn't have it. Ah, perfect. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Great tip. So let me show you guys that again. This one doesn't have it. Jamie says click the three dots, and yes, it's there, saved for offline. And now you get the little offline indicator. So it may not take me hours. I can go through and do that. So you can do it two ways. As we say, there's always more than one way to do anything. So you can open it up and rearrange your files, like some of mine are all messy and things are just scattered about. If I want to arrange them so that it looks nice and neat in my picture, I can do that. So, two ways to do it. Thank you, Jamie. All right. And I was going to say, some of you guys, if you are a Ko-fi or a Patreon supporter, or even if you're just a regular group member, I am probably going to start doing more SVG files. Even though it might be a card, something like this, it may come up in SVG form rather than a design space form. So if you do not know how to download and upload an SVG, please get with me or one of the moderators. We will walk you through. I do have videos on uploading in the playlist on Design Space, Learning Design Space. There are upload videos. There's 2 or 3 of them. And we will be happy to help you, and we can also show you live if you prefer. Just let us know if you're having a problem getting a file, because I will be doing a few more SVGs than I am Design Space files, because it's going to be tougher for us to get the links. I don't know if they're going to work on that and fix that, but with the new desktop copy, as you can see I have here, or it's trying to upload here, that I don't have a way of sharing Design Space files. So I may be forced for a short period of time to do my files in Shortcuts-A-Lot or other design programs, and then bring them in to you guys in SVG form, which means that I won't be using Access Images for that. So I hope they get it fixed, because I really enjoy using Access Images. If we can get this to open up, I'm going to explain the pieces to you guys. There we go. Internet hiccup. So this is the envelope. I have done this envelope in 2 pieces, guys, just so that this card will fit, because it's a little bit of a large card. It's not exactly square, but it is over a 5x7, and I'm going to show you why. All the elements are here in the design. I'm not going to save this because I'm going to be moving it. These are your inside panels, your card base. These are your outside decorative card panels. If you're using a pattern paper on one side, you won't need one set or the other. Choose which way you want your card to look. If you want to put the pattern on the inside, that's great. If you want to put the pattern on the outside, then you only need inside panels. Totally up to you how you want to decorate it. This is your base for the mechanism. This is the mechanism. This is your decorative piece, and you can change it, but you're going to need something that is around 5 inches in diameter or height and width for this card for it to look good. You can go smaller. It just depends on whether or not you want the mechanism to be seen. Totally up to you. But this is any occasion. We are doing a Valentine's theme, but you can use this for birthdays, for anniversaries, you name it, whatever. Guy card, girl card, kid card, doesn't matter. Super flexible file. I do have some of the kiss lips in here from Design Space. These are regular size envelopes, and I just squished them down to make them teeny tiny decorative envelopes. And then this is a heart that's in Design Space, and I put a circle on it in case you wanted to use those for like little hanging charms, and I'm going to show you those here in just a second. And that's basically all that's in the file. Any of these pieces are interchangeable except your mechanism, and of course your card base. You're going to need your card base that will fit into. So, and it's a little bit larger than a 5x7. So let's go over to the overhead and make it. Here we are. Yay! Let me move my mouse out of the way so that you guys don't have to deal with that. Give a little camera adjustment here. I don't mean to make anybody drunk, so I just want you to be able to see me. So here is the card, and I'm doing the one we're putting together today, just slightly different on the inside, but I'll show you that in a second. And it does come out of the envelope pretty easy if I just do it right. I've got drawing on the front of the envelope. You can also change that. That is a Design Space image. And then I put the sealed with a kiss on there. That is upside down in the file, and that's so that when you fold it over, it does appear correctly, so that you know. And we put a little set of lips on there. Well, there we go. So great envelope, and I'll show you the papers that I used here in a minute. And this is the card, the back of it, and the front, and you're simply going to untie it, and when they untie it, it pops up. Did everybody see that? It just pops right up. And I have a little envelope charm hanging off of it right here. You can put whatever you want, but I did use a little envelope. And then I have the XOXO written on the inside. Any of these Design Space images you don't want to use, or if you don't have access, you can interchange those, guys. So, just so you know. And when they open it up, it pops right up. How fun is that? And again, you can change that out to any image. I'm just going to set this to the side. And we'll get started on this. Now, in that file, I did the Happy Valentine's Day, which you saw on the front of that. However, I wasn't thinking when I did it because it was so late and I was tired. I didn't realize that it was in pieces, guys. And there is an easy way to glue these, but you have to put it on piece by piece, and I didn't use my washi tape to transfer it, so I had to piece it all back together. So I decided, just for time's sake, I wasn't going to use that for today's live. And instead, I used a die, which is my personal preference anyway for words on my cards. I still like to use my Cuttlebug and use dies because it's just, you can't get that rounded, soft edge look with the Cricut. Even though it will cut the letters, it doesn't give you that nice smoothed edge. And I should have run my die through a dryer sheet, but I didn't. But you get that nice, soft, rounded edge with a die that you just can't get with your machine. So some of my elements I like to use that with and incorporate them with the mechanisms and stuff that my Cricut cuts. So, and I believe that these are Spellbinder dies that say love you, but I could be wrong. They could be Anna Griffin. I don't think they're Anna Griffin because they're copper color. So I think that they're Spellbinders. I've had them for a while and I don't even know where I got them. So, but you can look around and find word dies just about anywhere. I'm just gonna push this out of the die here through its little holes. There we go. You can run your dies through a dryer sheet through your Cuttlebug and it will make them release easier. So those are my words I'm going to use. You're going to need ribbon. And my ribbon, I cut at 14 inches. That's totally up to you. But you're going to need two 14-inch lengths of ribbon. So we have those. I'm going to get that out of the way. You might need a piece of tape. Don't think so. Your bone folder, you're going to need some rubber bands. These rubber bands are, when they're just sitting there and not stretched, they're about 2.5 inches. This way. Okay? About 2.5 inches. And they will work. Smaller will work as well. So if you've got one smaller, it's even better. But I'm going to show you how to use your larger ones. You'll need a little bit of tearing tape. You might need some tweezers of some sort. These are the wrong ones, but I just happened to grab those out. You're going to need something to mark with, either a pen or a scoring tool, anything. I just used a pen because it was easier for me to see. And I did cut extras in case I made a boo-boo during the live. And I've already folded my envelope, and I'll show you guys how to do that little envelope piece here as well, just so you have one. So let's start with the card base, and it is a gatefold. And what we mean by gatefold is it doesn't fold right in half. It has two sides that fold into the center. I'm going to use my bone folder. And with this card, you want to get a pretty crisp edge. I am using for my base because this is a heavy card and it's probably going to get a little play because it's fun. And especially if there's a kid, it's for a kid, they're going to keep opening and closing because it's a fun card. So for this base, I went and used the Basil. This is the Buttermints. And this is their heavy 110, I believe. It might be 120, but it's the thick, heavy one, guys. It's really thick. And I cut this on craft board. Okay? For my Cricut. Test it. Do a test cut and make sure that it's cutting properly for you on that. So then you can set your base to the side. And let's go ahead and do the mechanism. So you got two pieces that look like this. Make sure that all of your little pieces are out of the centers. And then you have score lines, and you're just going to go around and fold on all of those score lines to give you your octagon there, or hexagon, I'm sorry. And see, that's really thick cardstock. You have to have something heavy for this mechanism, and I just used the same thing that I used for my card base. You want it to be at least craft weight, and what I mean by that is your brown craft board. You want at least that weight for this mechanism, because that rubber band is going to give it a lot of pull, and you'll want to make sure it's going to hold up. You're going to fold these two tabs in. There's 4 of them, and they are located on the rubber band tabs. That's what I call them, right here. And you're going to fold those over as well. Let me get my, oops. I like to use my little scraper to put up under that score line, because this is split right here, and it's just going to help me get a fold on the actual score line there, just to help me fold it. And again, I'm just going to place that right back there behind it, so that when I go to fold on the score line, I can get it right there on it. Okay. And then you're going to fold all of your little tabs. Everything is folded away from you, or mountain fold, whatever you want to call it. You're going to fold the other one the exact same way. Yes, Patty, you did beautiful work. All of you do beautiful work. Don't ever compare your work to somebody else's, because everybody crafts on a different level, guys. And just because yours doesn't look like somebody else's doesn't mean it's not good. It takes practice, and it takes time to perfect many things, and you have to work at it. But everybody always does beautiful work. Anytime it comes from your heart, especially, that's, you know, there's no way to judge what's good and what's bad. Everybody just does fantastic work. Sue is awesome. Louise, Marianne, Jamie, they all make beautiful things. Just about every member in our group. I don't know how we got lucky, but we have some really talented people. Really, really, really talented members. So you have your two pieces here like this. The first thing you want to do on this mechanism, and this is why I'm doing the mechanism first. We want some of this to dry before we go playing with it, okay? So I'm going to put a little bit of glue on this tab right here, and I'm going to fold that over. It's just reinforcing this panel. And then again on this side, and we're just going to fold it in, okay? Just holding it for a second to to let that stick good so I can let go of it. And then on this side too. You're going to do the exact same thing on both sides, on both pieces. Something like this, guys, this is just a remake of a very old file. These pop-ups came out, I don't know, 12, 13 years ago, I want to say. And this particular file was inspired by Karen Burniston. She brought back that old file. And I went in and made a design space file of it. We used to cut things like this by hand, and it took forever because you couldn't get the angles right. They weren't as pretty. I'm just going to say, they were not as pretty. They worked, but they didn't look great. You had to do all sorts of things to hide it and disguise it because it wasn't pretty. But I think she is the one that came up with these little reinforcement tabs on these panels. Design Space kind of makes it easy to go in there and get the right angles and all that stuff, because you can totally duplicate and slice so everything matches up, like all of the slices from this, I believe it was a hexagon. All the slices we did in there. So we're going to let that, we're going to do this first. When you're going to glue these together, this is very important. Yeah, it took a while. If you did crops and things like that, it was an all-day thing. You want to make sure that where those slits are, that they line up. You don't want to put them together backwards, or you're not going to be able to get your rubber band in there. So make sure that your slits are lining up on both sides. Make sure your slits are open. It's not open on that side. So that you can get your rubber band in. Make sure that your Cricut cut all the way through on those. And I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on one. Right here. And then we're just going to place them on the table and get them even, and we're going to hold that and glue those together. Just going to hold it until it takes, and then I'm going to give that just a minute while that's drying before I do the other side, because this is really thick cardstock, and you can see I got a little bit of a gap back here. I'm going to put some glue in there and actually fold it back. You can clamp it or paper clip it, whatever you want here. I'm just going to hold mine for a second and then set it off to the side to dry. We'll work on something else. So I'm going to turn my card over to the back, and here is my panel, and this has music on it, so I want to make sure that it's going the right way. This paper stack, guys, I got at Joann's. It's a die cuts with a view, so you might be able to find it on Amazon or scrapbook.com. We have links down below for that if you don't have a Joann's near you. But die cuts with a view, DCWV, in case any of you didn't know what that was. And this is called preserved paper, and it has the gold foiling on it. It's a premium stack. It has a ton of pretty papers in it. It is double-sided, bonus. Anytime that you can get double-sided paper like this, it's a bonus. It's rare that we need it to be white on the other side. I did run into a little bit of design issue with the back of mine, and I'll cover that here in a minute. But tons of pretty papers in there. And right now at Joann's, it's buy one, get one 50% off, I think. So, but it's called Die Cuts with a View Preserved Paper. And that's what this is out of. And you can see that I hated to really lose the back side of this, because that's pretty too. That would make a great card for a guy. So you could flip it over. There's lots of guy paper and girl paper in this stack. And we're just going to place this on the back panel, get it lined up, hopefully get it straight. But this has the gold foil dots on it. I don't know if that's going to show up on camera. It's so pretty. Not going to do these panels yet, guys. So flip it back over. And depending on how you want to do your closure, guys, you might want to wait to the end to do these panels at all. Now on this one, I did a closure with just ribbon, which worked for me. Was super easy, super simple, quick. There was no fuss, no muss for when they open it. So for me, this is what works. If you want to use like a envelope closure where you twist it around brads or whatever, you need to punch your hole, mark it center and punch your holes, and do that now, and punch your panels as well. So I'm going to say use some repositionable tape on your panels to both sides, punch your holes on the outside panels. You don't want to punch your holes on the, yes you do, punch your holes on the inside panels. Depends on what you're using. If you're using eyelets or brads, whatever. If you're using brads, don't punch your inside panels. If you're using eyelets, punch your inside panels. Maybe that is clearer. So depending on your closure, you need to decide on that at this point and either punch or don't punch your panels. Brads, you want to punch the outside panels only. Eyelets, you want to punch all 4 panels and the card. So that we got that cleared up. So because I am doing a ribbon closure, I'm going to put the inside panels on. And I really hate to cover up this foil butterfly, but I'm gonna do it. But it's also why I bought 2 of the exact same stack, so I would have enough paper for one, and I could still have some of the paper that I was covering up using this one. The one with the XOXO is on the right. And then when you put this panel on, because it has like a pattern of writing, make sure that you don't put it on upside down. We're going to line that one up. And then we're going to put, yep, see, I would have done it. And this one is easy because you have the butterflies, so it tells you which direction they go. Just make sure all your butterflies are in the same direction. And I should have checked it to the back. Whew, I got lucky. I did do it right because my pattern has music on it. Make sure you check that before you put these panels down too, if you have a pattern that matters. And so we're just going to let that dry and set it to the side. We're going to come back to this piece here, and I'm just going to give it a little fold. It should be dry now to work with. And it did. I got a little extra glue on there, and it's not going to matter. And you'll see why here in a minute. This side you want to get pretty neat. It's okay if you have one side that's a little messy, but one side needs to be neat. And now we're going to glue this tab. I'm going to fold that over on the inside. I'm just going to bring these together. Or try to. This is some really thick cardstock, but it worked really, really well for this. There we go. So now we've got that all together. Then just go on the inside. You can still get inside. You can fold these back. It's not going to hurt anything. You're going to be folding them back anyway, out of your way. And just give it a good press. Make sure that it's stuck together and that it's even. And then just let it dry for a second. Just set it to the side. It's going to look kind of weird right now, but just get everything lined up. Just going to give it a little bit extra glue. It's trying to separate there. I didn't get enough on there. And we're just going to let that dry. Then I'm going to pull the envelope over. For the envelope, I used, this is also from Joann's. It's 65 pounds, so any 65-pound paper you work, a pattern paper, anything you want to use. This is the Ivory Park Lane smooth solid core. That's what I'm using for my envelope. And I'm just going to fold on my score lines. And this is going to create the base of the envelope. And then this one has a score line as well. And fold on there. Now before I glue this, I want to put this piece in here. Just easier. You can put it in after you glue that bottom piece. I did that yesterday. And it worked okay, but depending if you're using sticky tape or glue, you may not have enough time to line it up, so it just makes it easier. I'm just gonna I'm gonna do mine this way and bring that up to that score line and press it down, okay, so that when I fold it, this piece is right up at the top of the fold. Then I'm going to fold in the two side tabs, and I am going to place glue just on this knockout piece here, and then I'm just going to run it up each side of the base piece, and then I'm just going to fold that in. And that's going to keep me from getting glue all out here or getting glue all on the inside of the envelope where it glues it to itself and you can't get your card in there. So check that, especially if you're using glue instead of tape. And then your envelope is ready. You just want to let it dry. And that should be dry enough now. This is the point you want to get your rubber band. And the first thing you're going to do is make sure you have extra rubber bands, because tying knots in them can make them pop. But I'm going to put 2 knots. Depending on how stretchy your rubber band is, you may need 3. Just 2 knots in it. And then I'm going to, where this is open on this tab right here, we're going to slide that rubber band in and push it down. I'm pulling it towards the back. Pull it down so that it's locked in place in that little bitty circle piece that we have in there. Then we're going to come over to the other side, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to push that down into that slit. Okay. Then I'm just going to flip it over and pull it up so that it gets in that little circle that's cut into that. Okay. And now this is where you want to test it. You want to flatten this out to make sure that your rubber band stretches without busting, and that when you release it, it pops up. You want a good pop. If it's not popping up, take it off, put another knot in it. Okay? You want a good pop. If it jumps like that, you're probably pretty good. Okay? So then you're going to come in, and this is where you're going to close up your mechanism. Your tabs should be opposite of each other if you put it together correctly. And you're just going to start gluing these tabs to one another. And you can squish it down so that you can get your finger in there. We're going to glue it all the way around. Don't worry, you'll get it. You may have to use some clips or get creative with your fingers, but it will go together. That rubber band makes it jump around on you. You might want to glue one side at a time. Might be easier. There we go. I kind of just try to push that in out of my way and bring that together. Just hold it till it dries. You can also get to it from the other side. The last one is the kicker. Hi, Kathy. Welcome, welcome. And again, we're just going to keep gluing all the way around. Oh, this is perfect for a birthday. Kids love these, Kathy. They love them. And well, here we are at our last one. And the more of these you do, the easier they become. Trust me. So you may struggle with your first one. Make sure that, cut an extra one in case you have boo-boos, something doesn't work out. Cut yourself an extra one. I will show you guys here in just a second how to get 2 mechanisms out of one 12 by 12 sheet of cardstock so that you always have one on hand. And if you have one pushed in like that, don't worry about it. Just grab your tweezers and pop it back out. Okay? And then we're just going to flatten it down. Make sure that it gets a good pop. Okay? Got some dirt on there. And if you want, you can cut a decorative panel for the top here. You're really not going to need it. You can see mine. You can see it from the back. If you want to make that pretty, you can put panels on there. You can do whatever you want. You can cut it the same color as this or this. I just made mine blend with my background and my accents so that it was, didn't really matter. You can even, we did one at Christmas with spinning. You can make it spin. You can do all sorts of stuff. You can add any elements that you want to. So the decorative part of this is totally up to you, whatever you want to do with it. So the next thing you're going to do is put some glue on the bottom of your mechanism after you've checked that it works. And you're going to center it up on one of your decorative panels. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but get it as close to center as you can. And I have to stand up to do that. And you can flatten it down and press it. Make sure that it's pretty much center. If it's off a little bit, not going to matter. I'm going to set my envelope over there. My paper. So then, the next thing you want to do, you don't want to glue this down yet. What step do I want to do next? Oh, yeah. Let's do our pretty panel. So the one on, I didn't put this base for the bottom because when we put it on this base, it's going to pop those colors through of the base. If you want a different color to pop through, say you wanted a brighter pink or something like that, then you'll want to cut a second one of these panels which do not have the cutouts on it. Okay? And it is in the file. And then you can decide which way that you want it to go because this is double-sided. I really hated to cover that up. That's great guy paper. You can decide how you want that. If you want the darker color to pop through or the lighter color to pop through. and I'm going to go with the lighter on mine. Now these are words, so I want to make sure that when I glue it down on my mechanism that I glue it the right way. When I glue this piece, it's not going to matter. Oh, I hate to cover these. I'm so glad I bought 2 packs. And then I didn't worry about the hearts with the cutout. I just went around and did a dot of glue. And I just put that on the, no I didn't. And do the solid hearts. That should be enough. And line those 2 up. And now, because my words show through there, and I'm just being OCD on that. You can do it however you want. That's straight up. So now I'm going to place my words on there. And again, I'm doing this a little bit different than I did the other one. I'm using my die cuts. But I didn't want to run this through. I didn't want to run it through a, I can't think, Creative Station sticker maker. Just for these 2 because of all the cleanup and the filigree. So I just kind of put a little bit of glue and use a makeup sponge. And then I just dab the back. And place it where I want. And I'm just going to get a little bit more of my glue. Not getting glue on the front. I'm just dabbing some sticky. Don't have quite enough onto just kind of making it a sticker. And then if I have any little tails that stick up, I just go in and just get a little piece of glue on those and stick those down. For me, that's a lot less. Oops, I didn't get enough glue on that one for sure. Let me do that again. Oh, I used the wrong side of my sponge. No wonder. I got glue on both sides now, and I didn't use the one that just had a little bit. There we go. It helps if you use the side of your sponge you put the glue on. I just got a little dab on that side, but the side I was gluing didn't have any. There we go. So now I have that on there, and I have room to write on it if I want. Now at this point you want to depress your mechanism, and remember I said I had a little bit of a tear right there where my paper stuck together and the other side was clean. That's the side I'm going to use. So I'm going to press it down, and just on this area right here, nowhere else, I'm just going to place some glue on that. I'm going to bring this in and lay it down, and I like to bring mine down just slightly past this mechanism. It's okay if that shows up there, because as soon as they open the card, it's going to pop up. And they're not going to see that this is not circled to that one. I did it both ways, and I like the way that this looked because it came down past here a little bit. And you can even decorate this up with some hearts or whatever all the way around. That would be cute. Put some little hearts on there around the centers. How cute is that? So now you have this piece ready. The next thing I did is I used just some gold thread. And I did an eyelet in my envelope. Let me show you guys how to do that, so in case you don't know how to do those. I used a piece of my scrap paper too. I folded the envelope, and when I folded it, I got some cracking of my paper. If you fold it too hard, you will get cracking on there. So be careful when you do. But if you do, don't worry about it. You can use your Copic markers or whatever, and I just kind of made this look old, just like the paper, and just went in with one of my light brown markers and marked up like some tea staining or something like that on it. So don't worry if it cracks, because when you get this small, it does that. And I loved that it had just this teeny tiny pop of blue on that side, like an envelope liner. That was so cute to me. Just going to hold that and let it dry for a second. And you can do this before or after. It's easier if you do it before, but I didn't. If you want it to look like there's a little bit of a letter inside, just cut off a piece of scrap. And you can stick that in there. I think this looks better than the other one I did, where it went all the way in. Like this. So, 2 ways to do it, however you want to do it. But it's just a piece of scrap stuck in there. Might do just a little dab of glue to hold it. So after you've got that glued, of course you'll need an eyelet. If you don't have a crocodile, make sure that you cut a hole in your little envelope beforehand. Use your Cricut, cut a hole in one of the triangles, and I am going to use this small one. I'm just going to pop it in here, and I can see where my crocodile is going to punch. I'm just going to punch a hole, okay? And then I'm going to get my brad. I think I want a copper one. Doesn't really matter, but I don't want black on there. There we go. And then I'm just going to place it right in. And then you take your crocodile with the prong up. Just going to run it through and then just press down. And now you have a little brad in there so that it will look pretty, give it a little extra element. Totally not necessary, but I like to give my cards a little bit extra. And doesn't want to get in there. Put my thread through and then loop it. And then I'm just going to tie a knot in the top of it, hopefully giving myself enough room to loop it through on my card. So my knot is about 2 inches away from the edge. I'm just going to trim that off. Then I'm just going to thread it through one of these holes. And you can adjust your thread where it hangs by just going up one hole. I know, there it is. And I just kind of, like threading a needle, I just kind of pull that through. So I can grab it on the other side. And then I'm just going to loop it right back through the thread. If I can get hold of it. This thread is so fine. You can use cord, you can use whatever you have. Did it go? Nope. It's wanting me to fumble with it today. There we go. Just going to loop it right back over the envelope and then pull my thread down. And now it's dangling. You can see that. And that completes your mechanism part. So now we're going to go back to the card, and before you put your mechanism in there, if you do like I did with this one, I was so excited I put the mechanism in first. You can. You want to keep it flat when you're trying to work and do your ribbons. So you can get your extra rubber band and stretch it around. Just be careful you don't bend anything, and let it hold it down in the center while you're working on the rest of the card. Or you can wait to the end to put that in, okay? So if you've already glued it in, you're okay. You can still work with it. What does a crocodile do? It's a cropadile, C-R-O-P-A-D-I-L-E, cropadile. There are several different ones, Susan. This one is for putting in eyelets, and it will do different sizes. You can pull this up and turn it and get your different sizes. You can also use it to put in snaps and brads and things like that. There are several different ones. They come in different sizes for different materials, all sorts of stuff like that. They have the guides on them. They also come in corner rounders, where this one will, here, we'll just do it. This one will round off a corner like this at a 1/2 inch or a 1/4 inch, depending on which one you want to do. So if you have those, you've already cut your card and you had a last minute thing that I wanted to round off the corners on these, I could do that, okay? And I may do that just to show you guys. They also have one that does an angle, like for tags and things like that. So there are all sorts of crocodiles, and each one does a different thing. Okay? And they're just quick. They're good to have in your craft room, because like I said, if I finish this card and I decide, oh, that would look so much better with rounded corners, I don't have to go and cut another panel and start all over, or try to do it by hand and get it all cattywampus. I can just use my crocodile and chomp it, because they'll do extra thick. So I will show you guys how it works on this card here as soon as we get all the layers on there, so that you can make, they're not really expensive. You can use 40% off coupons on them at Hobby Lobby and stuff, but sometimes I find that I can get them on sale at scrapbook.com, Joann's, Michael's, for less than what I can get them when I use a 40% off coupon. So like I said, make sure you're buying the one that says corner rounder, a rounded corner, or if it's a straight corner. I think the straight corner is white handled, where this one is like an aqua. You know, all the handles are different colors for different things, and they're all made by We Are Memory Keepers. One of the best things We Are ever did. I'll just say that. So now I'm going to flip my card over, and I know that this card is 7 inches across. So at the 3.5 inch mark, I'm going to make a mark. So at 3.5, I'm probably off camera. I'm just going to shift a little bit. 3.5 right here. And that's all I'm doing. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same thing at the top. Just going to make a little mark. And that's going to tell me where to put my ribbon. Okay. So that I get it center on both sides. And I'm just going to put a piece of sticky tape, and I'm not going to go edge to edge because I want it to be hidden under my panel. So I'm just going to do some sticky tape right there. I just wanted a little bit of a guide to show me. Now, if you want, when you can go into the file and you can add a teeny tiny tick right in the center there, center it vertically, and have, when it scores the rest of it, just let it score that for you if you want. I probably should have done that in the file. I just didn't. I'm sorry. But you can do that very easily. Then I'm just going to peel up those stickies. And I know I cut ribbon. There it is. Then we're going to get our ribbon. And I'm just going to make sure that I trim off straight on one side. And we're just going to stick that down on that sticky tape. And basically all that sticky tape is doing is holding it down. So if you want to use Scotch tape to stick it down, you could do that, most certainly. It's just holding it there. It's not for any other reason. It's not going to, well, it might make it more sturdy when you're tying. I don't know. Probably not, because of the way that I'm putting the rest of it together. It's going to get glue on it. So now we want to make sure that our panels go on and make sure they go in the right direction. Yep. And then, like I said, a little bit of glue on the ribbon. And then we're going to place that panel. Give it a good rub. Use your brayer, bone folder. I'm going to flip it around. And if you're flipping it around, make sure you put your paper on the right way. We're going to give that a good rub. And this paper was so pretty, guys. I opted not to put anything on the outside. I just did that. If you want to put some decorative element on the outside, go for it. I did not, simply because let me adjust this camera, guys. I don't want to be off camera for you. I don't mean to make anybody drunk, but when I moved it a while ago, I got it off center. There we go. So, totally up to you. Make sure we got it the right way. Next, we're going to place in our pop-up. Let's go ahead and do this little element first. I have my little lips here. I'm just going to glue to the inside. And then I did these. I set these up to be charms in case you wanted to do those on your mechanism instead of the envelope. So either way you want to do it, you can fix any of them. I'm cutting that off because I want to use it on the inside here and glue that down this way. Just for that little extra pop of color on the inside. Kind of balance it out. Then you're going to want to depress your mechanism. And again, I just did dots on these hearts that were not cut out, the solid hearts of glue. It should be plenty to hold it down, and then get the center really good. And while you're holding it down, don't let it go. Let's go ahead and depress it. Make sure that it's centered side to side, and then when it pops up that it's pretty center. Now it doesn't, I did not put mine centered in this way vertically. I did not center it because when it folds down, in case you wanted to write, you might want to write, you might want to add some elements like some dots, whatever. But I wanted it to have enough space in the front that it didn't look too close to the edge, if that makes sense. Okay, because you can see I got this one just about the same place, but I just wanted to make sure that it had plenty of viewing area. I guess that's what I'm saying, when it pops up. Because if they put this on a bedside table or something like that, you want good viewing area. So don't pull it too close to this edge. I looked at it both ways and it looked better closer to the top. So I'm going to say a finger's width from the top. Looks good. That's about what I did on that one too. Maybe just a little less than a finger's width. And then you're just going to close up your card and tie your bow. You'll want to make sure that this is good and dry before you tie your bows, guys, because you don't want to be ripping up your cardstock. If it's damp, it's going to rip, okay? So make sure it's good and dry. Oops, I missed my loop. I like to do a 2-loop bow here. Get 1 loop in one hand, 1 loop in the other hand, and then tie those. To me, it gives a prettier bow closure. And then you can adjust it. I didn't get it quite tight enough. Don't let it release on you. You can use the weight of your hands while you're tying your bow to hold it down. There we go. Yay! That's better. And that's it, guys. Thank you, thank you. And then when they open it, that element of surprise, it pops right out. Yes, I have planned on doing one of these maybe for Easter with the wiggly bunny butt, redoing that. I don't know if you guys were with me last year when we did the wiggly bunny butt card, but I thought, how cute would the wiggly bunny butt be on one of these pop-ups? Yeah, bunny ears, bows. Is that what you call these, Jamie? To me, they just lay better. They look better on things like this. I could have gotten that a little bit tighter, but I'm going to leave it. And then you just want to place it in your envelope. So I promised that I was going to show you guys how to do the chomper, and then we'll wrap up. I'm going to say a 1/2 inch on this. So if you have your chomper, you can see that it's a 1/2 inch. And then a 1/4 inch on this side, and I think I'm going to use the 1/2 inch. Okay, and I'm just going to place my card in there, and you want to do this after you do all your panels, or actually you want to do your panels before you do it, before you glue them down. But you can do it like I'm doing it now. Totally up to you, whatever look that you want. But then you get that rounded corner look. I prefer, when I'm doing mine, to do all of my panels, round off the corner of my panels, then round off the corner of my card, and then put my panel down. But it gives it that nice little added feature onto your card. Super easy to use. It's got the guides close back up. You can open them up. You just spread it out and then stick your card in there, and then close it to store it. The size of that grommet, I am going to say, is a 3/16. These are Tim Holtz, I believe. I got these Tim Holtz. Let me look on my chomper and see. Let me get back over there. If it's marked. I'm going to say 3/16, Patty. Because let's see. This takes, it might be 5 30 seconds. Let me see. Might be smaller than that. This one goes, I'm wrong. This one goes from 5/32 to 3/16. This is a 3/16. Let's see if we can find out really quick. Let's go over and take a peep. Let's see. Aha. Well, where did it go? There we go. Oh, that's in millimeter. I don't want millimeter. Maybe I do. Let's do this. Those are flat back. That's not them. Oh, I didn't change. Sorry. I meant to. Let's see. Let's standard. There we go. This is probably right. No. Simon Says doesn't have it. Ah, I just found it, I think. It's the next. We are memory keepers. There we go. There we go. This is them right here, I'm pretty sure. It says 3/16. They say they're 3/16. So I was right. I think I wrote the wrong measurements on my other tool. But you can use different sizes. It really doesn't matter. But if you go and buy the, yeah, you can get those at Joann's. They have them at Joann's. They have them at scrapbook.com. Blitzy is no longer, guys. So I think I removed the Blitzy link from down below. Blitzy is AC Moore. As you know, they went out of business. So we do not have that affiliate or that outlet anymore. So tons of places you can get them. You can get them on Amazon, just about anywhere. Let's see, here are all your crocodiles. And see, here's some more of the eyelets. These are little flower eyelets. You can get all sorts of eyelets, guys. I have pink ribbon, breast cancer eyelets. I mean, there are just tons of things you can get. And they just add a little extra something to your cards and things. So don't be afraid to use those. This one is a eyelet and snap punch. This is the eyelet and snap punch that I just showed you guys just a few minutes ago. This is the one I have. This is the big bite punch. This will even punch through chipboard, guys. I use this one to punch my holes in chipboard. But tons of them in here. Here's the corner rounder. Here's the power punch that I have. I think that's... No, I don't have that one. I almost got this. If you have a Tuesday morning, you'll want to go by Tuesday morning, because this one, they had it Tuesday morning where I live. It was $7.99. So check your Tuesday mornings if you have those around you. This one right here, because they don't always all have the same thing, but you can find things like this there at different times, and you can find them for cheap. I almost picked it up, and then I put it back, and I'm like, I don't usually use the straight edge that much. And then when I got home, I was like, I wished I had gotten it. Okay, so everybody's good with the card. Everybody understands how it goes together. It is up on the site, craftingwithapril.co. Make sure that you're reading the Ko-fi blog or your Patreon post. I am going to start posting a lot more in there. Our group, I love our group. It's grown so fast and so quick. Everybody's settling in. So all of my Patreon only stuff will be posted over on Ko-fi and Patreon first, before I put it into the groups. And it may even go in there a day or two before I can get it into the groups. You use your angle one a lot, Jamie? Yeah, I am seriously thinking about going back and getting it. They had like 4. So yeah, I don't have those. I have like 4 of them, and that's all I have. But you can get them in the kits. You can get little kits for them. And that's not a bad deal right there. That's the eyelet one. I don't know if it has the punch in it. I would read that, because I don't know if the punch is actually included in that. It may be, but I would read it just to be sure. But that's not a bad deal. All right. Thank you, Ko-fi supporters. Thank you, Patreons. Most of all, thank you, moderators. I greatly appreciate you guys and the awesome work that you're doing in the groups for us, so that I can do more designing. Greatly appreciate that. Yeah, Susan, if you're like me, I started with the punch for the eyelets and the corner rounder. Those are the 2 I started with, and I build from there. Yeah, that's just a case in the eyelets. I thought that was too good to have the tool in it too. So make sure that you guys give a thumbs up, like, subscribe, and I will see you guys on Monday. And I haven't decided what we will do. We may learn how to design SVGs and do a little bit in Escal. I don't know yet. I haven't decided. Thank you, guys. You have a wonderful weekend. Catch you on Monday.